Brand new reporting on a close and controversial aide to former Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown landing a job at OTB. That right there is Steve Casey, former deputy mayor of Buffalo, whose firm was convicted of federal wire fraud. Investigative Post confirming over the weekend that he is now working at Western Region Off-Track Betting, where, of course, former Mayor Brown is now president and CEO. Jeff Kelly with Investigative Post joins me now live to tell us more about this. Jeff, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
So, reported this over the weekend, but today learned a little bit more, some of the specifics about this position. I don't know that it was necessarily surprising to a lot of people that Byron Brown would take some of his folks with him, but Steve Casey has quite the history.
He does, and it's surprising maybe that Brown reached so far back into his long tenure as mayor to find Casey, who has not been in City Hall for 10 years. Yeah, we did learn more today. He's been, according to the State Controller's Office, he's been working already. He's at OTB, he's been there since last month. He's part-time right now, which has to do with the kind of license he's been granted by the Gaming Commission to work there. And that part-time salary is about $50,000 a year.
So would you anticipate that he would go full-time if his new license allows, or we just don't know right now what
Our understanding is, what we've been told, is that he's applying for the kind of license he needs for a management position, which would be full-time, at a much higher salary, of course, but he hasn't received that license yet.
And tell me about some of the reaction you're getting to this.
Well, we're getting some, as you say, he was a controversial figure. Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz, who's director on the OTB board, has the greatest weighted vote, called Casey a toxic presence in City Hall for decades, said that he is deeply disappointed that Byron Brown is bringing him to OTB. He said Brown promised that there'd be sort of a changing of the guard at OTB, if you will, and a change in culture. The Public Gambling Corporation has been beleaguered by accusations of malfeasance for the last several years, and this change in governance and the change in leadership was meant, perhaps, to be a change in that culture, to that perception. And Poloncarz expressed in no uncertain terms that Steve Casey isn't it.
And just, you know, for our viewers who can't remember a decade ago when Steve Casey was in the headlines a lot, right?
You're right.
When he was serving in City Hall, but subsequently it was his firm which was convicted on a federal crime, not him as an individual, right?
Yeah, so after he leaves City Hall, a year after that, his house is raided by federal investigators. It's widely reported that for some time he was cooperating with investigators who were probing various matters of interest to them in Western New York. In 2021, as Byron Brown was running for his unprecedented fifth term, his company pled guilty to a federal charge of wire fraud, a felony. Now, a felony does not necessarily prohibit you from getting a gaming license from the State Gaming Commission, though there are some conditions attached to that.
Well, we will continue to follow it. InvestigativePost.org. You can read more of the reporting by Jeff Kelly and your colleague, J. Dale Shoemaker. You guys are all over it. Thanks for coming in.
There's another story tomorrow.
There we go.
All right.
Story that keeps on giving.
Yep.
Jeff, thank you.
Thank you.